This is the Colt SP1. I picked it up a couple days ago, so I just wanted to show it off for everyone. This one was police issued, and it was made in 1980, so that's just an interesting thing about it. But we'll start from the front here and just go over some of the features. So starting off, we have an A1 flash hider because, as you'll find out from all these, the A2 didn't exist yet, so it's very A1. But the difference is, on this flash hider, the cuts go all the way around. And that became a problem because it would kick up dust, and so they fixed that on the A2. The barrel on this is pencil profile. It stays that thickness all the way down, and it's a 1 in 12 twist, which means for a stabilized bullet you want to fire 55 grain or less, because that's what the military was using at the time. For the front sight base, it's pretty much standard, except for the front sight itself. Instead of being square like on an A2, this one's actually rounded. I guess it would kind of be a different sight picture, but it's not really a noticeable thing. The handguards are obviously A1 handguards. They're made of a fiberglass and they have heat shields on the inside. This one is missing one of its teeth, which is pretty standard for these, if they've been used pretty good. But, what can you do about that? You can also see kind of the fibrous nature of it. It doesn't look like modern plastic because it isn't. We move back here. This has a slip ring, which is different from the modern Delta ring, and it makes it pretty hard, as you can imagine, to get the handguards off. There's not really a good place to pull down on them to get them off, so that was changed with the A2. If we move back here to the receiver, on the bottom we've got Colt AR-15, the Prancing Pony, and model SP1, and it's marked for caliber .223. Now there's a lot of debate online if you can shoot 5.56 through it. I would probably say it's fine because these barrels, they're marked .223, but they're the same barrels that were put in the military ones, and same for the bolt head. So use your discretion on it, but it's probably fine either way, as long as you're using 55 grain. We've got Colt Industries, Hartford, and then Safe and Fire. And one difference you'll find on a lot of new ones is the stop notches on this have been milled down. I'm not sure why really they did that, but it was a feature of these early Colts. The grip is an A1 grip, same as an A2, just doesn't have the finger notch. Pretty standard trigger, all that stuff. Bolt catch is the same. And then the upper, of course, we've got the A1 carry handle. Now it's kind of what you'd expect. You got windage and elevation over here. You put a bullet tip in there and turn it. And then the elevation is up at the front. You put a bullet tip and spin it around. But on the other side here, it's actually quite different from what we're used to seeing today. There's no fencing around the magazine catch. And there's this right here is a very large diameter screw. It's not mil-spec. And the reason Colt did this is because they worked with the ATF, when they were trying to get this commercially available. And one of their ideas was, well, we'll put a different diameter right here and make it harder to remove. So if you did find a full auto lower, you couldn't just swap the upper with it and have a machine gun. Does it make much sense? I guess not really, but, they were trying to get this to the commercial market. Mag release is the exact same, nothing fancy there. And then another thing we're missing is anything up here. It's slick side. The reason for this is because those things didn't exist whenever this gun was being designed. This was a 1963-ish being designed. I think it came out in December of 63 and it started showing up in 64, but the brass deflector and the forward assist just hadn't been invented. So the commercial ones at least stayed slick side for up until the late 80s, whenever the A2s came out. Charging handle's the exact same, nothing fancy there. But then the butt of this rifle, this is actually pretty interesting to me. You can tell kind of just by, it doesn't translate well, but the feel of it, and also the fact that it's not fibrous looking like the front or the grip here, and the length of pull and the trap door, that this is actually an A2 buttstock. Now, we think of kitting out your AR-15 exactly how you want it as a modern thing, but this goes to show that even back in the 80s, You know, the A2 came out, it was improved. It is a better stock design, I think, than the A1. People were putting those things on here and customizing their ARs. So that's just an interesting thing about this particular rifle. And there's a trapdoor on the back. You can put a bullet tip in there and get it open, and it just holds like a cleaning kit. So now that we've gone over all that, what I'm actually going to do is put on some big gloves that I have. And since it's snowing out and it's really cold, we're going to try out some of the features that make this, you know, able to be used in Arctic conditions or in cold weather or whatever. And we'll talk about some of the things that Stoner did when he designed this to make sure that you could use it in Arctic conditions. All right, so I've got the trigger guard folded down here, and this is something that actually all AR-15s are capable of doing as long as you don't have like a set screw type in there. It folds down so you can get big mittens like this in the trigger guard and actually fire. So Stoner designed that in at the military's request. And then another thing he did was originally AR-10s and AR-15s had a trigger style charging handle inside the carry handle. So you put your fingers in, pull it back. Well, with gloves like this, you know, I can't really do anything. So he created the T-handle like we're familiar with. So what I'm going to do is try to use this, and I've got another mag, reload and keep firing with these big gloves on, you know, just to switch it up so it's not just a normal AR-15 video. So start by putting the mag in. Then with this T I can grab with my thumb, charge it, and then you kind of just have to pull down here, get the safety off, and hope that you're touching the trigger. Right, so there's that mag. Now we can hit the button pretty easy, and hopefully I can dig around in here. I don't have a mag carrier, I just got it in my pocket. Looks like I can't. So we'll take this glove off. Realistically, you know, you have this mag pretty available to you, but I've got it shoved in a pocket. We put the other one in, and then just to prove that we can, we'll take our mitten, hit the bolt release. Oh, and it looks like it actually jammed on us. So there we go. All right, and then we'll keep going with our glove tand here and just kind of wedge it in there as best we can.